Good afternoon, ma'am, Dr. Shulagna Sarkar, and all the students of MBA Semester 2. Today, we are here for a guest session by Dr. Shulagna Sarkar on the topic of employee relations and tools. So, I request Madam to please take over now since the introductory session is already done. So, you can please take ahead, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Actually, I just wanted to understand, is it the same set of students whom I
Ye-
spoke last time?
yes, ma'am. Same set of students. Yeah,
Okay, then
yeah,
it's fine. Like
yeah,
they'll have a,
yeah. They have some
okay.
background of what you have discussed last
Yes,
time.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
So,
you.
how are you doing, all of you? I hope you're there in front of the screen, or
Yes,
is it
ma'am.
just
Yes,
Great.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
okay?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Fine, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
okay. Okay. Chalo, let's move ahead. So I've already introduced you all to the concept of employee relations, and so let me just take you to the tools and see what comes next. So as we understand, there are various approaches to employee relations, and if you look into uh, the various approaches, so it's just not the workers or the non-executives that are important. It's equally important to ensure that your overall employee relations is managed well in the organization, and it is taken care. So as I was just hearing that madam has told that you all are all of you all are HR students, so this people centrism is very important when you just try to talk in with you know being in HR. So if you're talking of the various approaches, the biggest challenge that you see right now, at least during this pandemic season, is that this there's a lot of flexibility that you need to incorporate in your workplace. Coming down to my experience, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think this is too hot and clumsy. Okay, I think this is better. So I was talking about COVID scenario and flexibility. So even for PSUs which never believed in giving work from home options are now forced to give work from home options, and you have flexibility in the work environment. More and more VPN connections have been given to all employees so that they can work from home. Earlier, if you look into the concept, everybody used to feel that if I'm paying a person, the person should be available in the workplace, and till the boss leaves, people should leave only after the boss leaves. This kind of environment used to exist, not just with IT sector, across all sectors. But now with the changing scenario, things are getting different, and we are more into a system of having contractual employees. So they are contract not just in as a category of workers or as a category of non-executives, but you are also hiring contract employment in executive cadre. And what do these people do is they go in for a tenure track kind of recruitment. So when you have people, those who are stipulated to a specific period of time, and you may have people those who are actually through a contractor, you may have permanent employees, and that brings in a kind of diversity in the employment structure itself. The role of employee relations and how you handle these people is very very important, and you need to really think of every day as a challenge in terms of how do I cater to different segment of my employees, right? So if you see the different segment, they have the different set of problems. They may be having less of security. As I say that there have been lot of increase, not just during this pandemic times but before itself. I think it's a trend of 3 to 4 years back now, that there has been a higher recruitment in tenure track employment. So when you hire such kind of people, those who are tenure track or those who are project based, then there is an element of security issues. Security for the company, in terms of data security, in terms of information security, and security in terms of from the individual's angle, where they feel, if I complete my job with this particular organization, what next? And that again becomes a challenge for an HR person in terms of how do I balance my security as an organization to the security, individual security as an option, because the less security a person has, the less element of engagement the person will be with the organization. I hope I am making this clear. Any questions? Any questions, anybody? Okay. So so it's a very tricky role that an HR has to play, a when it is dealing with different segments of its employees, different types of employees, their expectations, their challenges that they face, and of course the changing scenario across the businesses. So with that kind of problem, how do you manage relations at workplace? And to that you have, let's start with the concept of salaries and wages. I think I've already spoken and given example of Mahan and Dairies last time, which I've witnessed, and there was a lot of differences between people with regards to the salaries and wages. The same goes in any sector. I don't know, a few weeks back, I was just watching something on news, and uh, they gave a small, I think, 10 minutes document film on, I don't know how many of you know this coffee house brand, earlier, which is a very old brand of coffee house concept. So the oldest coffee house, if you think of in India, lies in Shimla. And this coffee house has been a platform where even prime ministers have visited Shimla, including RJ Jawaharlal Nehru ji has visited there. And when they were sharing this incident, that the biggest challenge today's scenario due to the pandemic is to retain people and retain the operations of a coffee house which once upon a time was iconic. And now they are finding it very difficult to run, operate, and pay the salaries and the wages of the people, those who are associated there. So imagine, with a very prestigious place, small place I'm talking of, so there is an element of you want to sustain the business, you want to run it, there is prestige, and on the other hand you are not able to give enough salaries and wages and continue with the operations of a place. So it's a very dicey part, where an HR person has to think, how do I retain people even if I'm paying less, I'm managing only partially with the profit that I used to earn. Now I don't have money, still I have to retain my people. So these kind of challenges and questions that comes out when we talk of employee relations. So the first part is, be very clear of the salaries and wages that you give. Create a culture, create a right set of culture where even if you're not paying, still people would like to continue with you. Even if you are not able to give them the right set of things which they are deserving, still people should say that, okay, fine, whatever it is, this is the company that I wish to work because it cares for me. That care element is very, very important. The second part, when I say employee participation and industrial democracy, in terms of how do you engage people in business decisions. Now most of the time what happen, leaders feel that, what is it that these people at the lower end or a middle level segment can contribute to business decisions? They have no say. But it's the open door policies, it's the democracy that you build in your organization that makes the difference in terms of creating employee relations. And how do you do that? There are very many methods ways to ensure that open door policy where one can walk in and come and explain themselves, express themselves, share their thoughts. The best of the idea actually comes from the people at the most lower end segment of your company. And until and unless a leader of a company realizes that the best suggestions comes from below, he will actually not be making justice to the business. So industrial democracy and ensuring participation in the decision making is very, very integral when it comes to establishing right employee relations. Works council. Now works council has been since ages. It has been since quite a time that you can think of, and is one of the very important part of industrial relations that we say. These are nothing but the forums where workers, management meet to discuss issues concerning working conditions, pay, training. There are members, those who are elected, they join this works council, and then finally they decide, talk, they discuss, and they often come up with the best solutions possible, win-win solutions possible, both for employees as well as for the company. I'll give you an example. In 2008, there was a downturn. I don't know how many of you must have been in school that time, but certainly there was not a very good scenario for companies. That time there was a recession, I would say downturn for India. And during that time, Mahindra and Mahindra in Nagpur's division, they used to have this tractors manufacturing going on in Mahindra and Mahindra in Nagpur division. So they were facing a lot of hunch. And why? Because they had, of course, contractual employees in manufacturing sector is something unavoidable, and you need them, right? So they had contract employees, they had full-time employees, and of course, because the market itself is very down, you can't expect people to take loan and buy tractors and engines and things like that. They can't afford that time. So the sales has gone down very badly. So can a company think of just chucking out all its contract employees, saying, okay, bye bye, don't come from tomorrow? What do you think? What could have the company done during this scenario? Anybody? Anybody?
Can you repeat the question?
Sorry?
Can you please repeat the question?
Repeat the question. Okay. My question is, there was a downturn in 2008-9. I hope your teacher must be definitely knowing. I know you all must have been in school. So downturn means that there is recession in the market. Your sales don't have scope, right? The company was Mahindra and Mahindra tractors division. There was not much sales, and they had contract employees, they have full-time employees. I said, what could have the company done? They were not having business. They could easily let go of the contract employees. What could have the HRs done to address the issue where the company does not have profit and they have lot of issues in terms of running the organization itself? What would have they done? Can they throw out the contract employees?
Ma'am, they could have done that, but that would vastly
Can you be a
affect.
little louder, beta?
Ma'am, they could have thrown out the people, those contract people, but that would have a very negative effect on the image of the company. So they have to find a way so that they can provide a work to them.
Work? How would you provide work? When you know that uh, your company is not doing well, then what else could have been done?
मैम they make more agencies. उन्होंने बहुत सारे एजेंसीज मैम उन्होंने बहुत सारे ट्रैक्टर एजेंसीज का बिल पास किया. बहुत सारे शहरों में महिंद्रा का एजेंसी उन्होंने खुलवाया, जिससे उन्होंने वो सिक्योरिटी मनी के तौर पे उनसे 1 करोड़ या 2 करोड़ रुपए लेते थे, फिर ट्रैक्टर एजेंसी देते थे खोलने के लिए. लाइसेंस बांटने लग गए.
बेटा the thing is एजेंसी खोलने से एम्प्लॉयमेंट तो नहीं रहेगी ना. The thing is
ट्रैक्टर बिकेंगे
okay.
तो
Do
प्रॉफिट
you want me to speak in Hindi also or is it completely fine?
No, no, ma'am. You can continue in English.
Ma'am, they cannot remove the employees permanently, but just keep them in some temporary job, but still employed, uh, leave without
Okay,
pay or
I'll tell
something
you
like
what
that.
they did. Can I just get the name of the person who said that they could have given more franchisee?
सन्नी मैम, सन्नी.
सनी भाई ऐसा है कि जब आपकी the particular product is not saleable in the market because there's not much buyers. Tractor कौन खरीदता है? It's of course the kisan will buy, right? So if the market itself is not good, so kisan will not have money to buy, right? So he cannot take a loan out of the money market when itself the market is very down. Okay, that's the problem of a recession. So of course it is going to affect the company because there will not be sales. So if there is no sales, even if you give more franchisees to the local places saying you take my tractors ka franchisee, it will not work, right? और रही बात, there was a girl who just spoke that they should be engaged or something. You said contract employees को जाने नहीं देना. Who was the girl?
Ma'am, Kavya.
Okay, Kavya. Thank you for that. Being a good organization, it means that not letting go of your people just because you don't need them. It is a very bad thing if you just let go of your people saying, oh, I don't have work, okay, bye-bye. You have to create opportunities to ensure that people are able to survive. Why do organizations run? A, profit. B, to create employment. It is equally important that an organization not just runs for its own purpose of creating profit, but to also have simultaneously very many other benefits to the society in which it is operating. So employment का मतलब ये नहीं है कि today I need you so you work, tomorrow I don't, which IT companies usually do say. Sorry, I am not a great fan of some of the companies practices that are there in some of the IT companies. So you cannot just say bye bye to anybody just like that. This is one of the classic cases of the organization when I have been very close to somebody in this Mahindra tractors division, so I can vouch and say on what they did. They called for a huge meeting in one of the nearby field, I would say an open medan mein they called for a meeting. They asked their full-time employees, they asked their contract employees and top notches of the companies, एक बड़ा सा जैसे मीटिंग होता है ना, बड़ा सा टेंट लगा के they sat down and they discussed. They said, see, our company is not doing very good. The problem is that we don't have market right now. Our sales are very down. Now you tell me, all of you standing here in this ground, you tell me what can be done. Immediately, there were people who said, नौकरी हमें तो नहीं जाना है. We don't want our jobs to be gone. Yes, please. Yes, please.
The sales will be down in the 2008. So there is a manufacturing unit having the Mahindra Tractor Agency. So the Mahindra Tractor Agency have to shoot the not manufacture more tractor, but they have to manufacture the tractor as a toys, and they have to circulate the sales in the toys market. So when the sales is boost in the toys market, so there will be profit and sent to the administrative department, and they contributed to the salaries to that person, and the part time job will be जो part time job कर रहे हैं work, वो उनको दिया जाए ये वर्क करने को कि आप उसमें सेल्स में कीजिए आधे और आधे इधर कीजिए, और फिर
बेटा एक चीज बताओ, सेल्स करना किसे करना है, किसे बेचोगे? जब बेचने वाले तैयार नहीं है खरीदने के लिए तो तुम बेचने वाले का टीम तैयार करके कुछ नहीं कर सकते. यू गॉट माय पॉइंट. जब
मैम
खरीदने
फर्स्ट
वाले की
फर्स्ट
कैपेसिटी
टारगेट
नहीं है, सी
फर्स्ट
हु इज द
टारगेट करेंगे
टारगेट? किसान है। किसान खरीदने
मैम।
वाले
मैम
की
टॉयज
औकात
मार्केट
नहीं
में
है
तो कर
खरीदने के
सकते
लिए,
हैं
क्या करोगे
मैम,
तुम?
समझ रहा हूँ। अगर ट्रैक्टर खरीदने की औकात नहीं है उस टाइम में, अगर किसानों की 2008 के समय में, लेकिन टॉयज खरीदने की औकात तो है, मतलब कि जो मिडिल क्लास से
टॉयज, सॉरी आई
अपर
डिड
मिडिल
नॉट गेट
क्लास
यू।
जो है, टॉयज टॉयज ट्रैक्टर एजेंसी जैसे।
I think he was talking about diversification completely.
Oh,
यस
okay, okay,
Product
okay. I'm
Yes,
talking
diversification.
ma'am.
HR scenario. Okay,
Yes, yes,
toys.
yes.
Okay, let me bring you back to HR conditions. You know,
Yes, yes,
let's
yes.
not
ट्रैक्टर एज ए
deviate to
टॉयज।
Yeah,
diversification.
yeah.
Huh? Let me bring you what the company did. Very interesting because सच्ची में ये किया उन्होंने। अब देखो, अगर मेरे दिमाग में है कि मेरे तुमको ये बेनिफिट्स नहीं देना है, और मैं तुमको मुंह पे बोलूंगी ना कि आई एम गोइंग टू कट डाउन दिस थिंग फ्रॉम यू, आई विल नॉट गिव यू दिस, आई विल नॉट गिव यू दैट, पूरे वर्कर्स एचआर के सर पे
एंड
चढ़
मैम
जाएंगे।
सेकेंड थिंग्स ये हो सकती है कि सारे जो कॉन्ट्रैक्चुअल वर्कर्स हैं उनको एक असेंबली में खड़ा किया जाए और उनसे पूछा जाए कि वो पार्ट टाइम वाले हैं और उनको कंपनी पैसे दे नहीं सकती है, और उसके भी परिवार हैं और परिवार आपके भी हैं, तो हम क्या करें। और हमारे पास दो ऑप्शन है कि आपके कुछ सैलरी को कट करके मैं उनको सैलरी पे कर सकता हूँ, तो अगर जो
बिल्कुल
जो
अब तुम
देना चाहते।
एचआर वाले जैसा बोल रहे हो, वेरी नाइस। Okay,
थैंक यू मैम।
now you're talking HR. Okay, what they did is, you know, they did not see it that I'm going to take away this, that. They simply said that as an organization, if I have 100 employees, I want to retain my 100 employees. I don't want that 50 of my contract employees should go away and only 50 of my full-time employees should stay. If I have 100 employees, I have to retain my 100 employees. And for that, what I need is the support of all you people. Now tell me, how are you going to support me? You know, all the best of the suggestions in terms of how they could curtail down the cost came from all their employees. They simply said that do not give us half the salary and give that half the salary to the contract employees. So they, for next 3 months, agreed there themselves. They gave a suggestion for the next 3 months, give us half the salary, and hamari jo half the salary hai, give it to the contractual employees. At least they will be able to have some food, which is fine. Then they came up with suggestions saying for the next 2 years, don't give us shoes, dresses. Anyways, it doesn't matter. You know, and in manufacturing sector, shoes or dresses बहुत important होते हैं. So they spend a lot of money in these. The company said that you every year you give us a shoe which actually we don't need. So stop giving us for the next 2 years, we'll manage, somehow manage. And that was a huge expenditure. For the canteen facilities, they said we will get our food. Don't canteen को आप बंद कीजिए, canteen employees को कोई और काम पे लगाइए. The company managed the whole downturn so well. Within the next 4 months, they were able to come back to the market so well. And what they did was, during this period, I have taken some training programs for them, and that is why I know this company very well. You know, during the downturn, उनकी engines चल नहीं सकती थी क्योंकि manufacturing करके करेंगे क्या? They did not have any sales, so they stopped all the operations. But when we were taking training programs, people were invariably coming to office, attending all the development lectures during this period. They said that we are going to develop ourselves, think of what can be the future. So this period of downturn where there was no work, they actually took it as an opportunity for development. And that attitude of development help people revive back. See, how an HR works is, if you tell the employees, I'm not going to give you this, I'm going to take away all your all the benefits, I'm going to take away all your increments for the next 2 years, people will marenge pakad ke. But the moment you tell them that, see, this is my problem, involve them, talk to them, communicate with them, take their suggestions. People are with you. And that's the beauty of employee relations. Employee shareholders, that's one more very interesting part, where Tatas, as I said in my last class also, one of the best companies that you can think of. No, even the lowest of the lowest employees are a shareholder to the company. So that if the company goes down, the employee also goes down. So they know that whatever it is, we have to ensure the share of the company to be best. So they are a part and parcel of the company. आज के डेट में if you go to Tata Motors, I've seen Tata Motors very very closely since my childhood. Every worker of Tata Motors owns a Tata vehicle, and almost at the half the price. So it's like they feel that ownership of being a part of Tatas. They feel the love and affection for the company. एक वर्कर जब अपना शान से एक बड़ा कार टाटास का लेके घूमता है अपने सिटी में, तो उसकी जो वो वैल्यू होती है वो शायद कोई और सिटी में नहीं है. And that is the kind of ownership that they have given to their employees. So they must be selling a particular car in the market with a certain price, but for the employees, you get it at peanuts. They ensure that. And for all Tata products, they ensure that kind of. Autonomous work groups. There is where teams have a high degree of control. The authorities of this work groups are usually delegated from the senior management, and these work groups are usually created in small departments. Individually they create these groups, and they try to increase the productivity of that particular department or particular operation that they motivate people. It's like a small set of people formed by the senior management in different operations, and especially to encourage people. And they meet, they have chit chat, chai, and discuss and work. So the moment you give them opportunity to involve more, the better it is. Team working, I think all of us know teams what is in and how it is. Let's move to quality circles. This is very interesting. Quality circles are again, it is like a forum, small forums that are there again in different departments and different, especially in the technical departments, where their job is, these people as a part of the quality circles, they keep on thinking as to how to improve the quality of products. And so what they do is, they usually every month they keep working, and they then discuss in terms of how these quality circles can address different business problems. So even there is something called as quality circles forum. So across the nation, there are competitions held among different quality circles of different organizations and sectors to discuss business problems, and what are the kind of solutions that they provide can be adopted by the company. So not just internal quality circle forums are there, but external, where they compete with each other across the nation. Those kind of forums are also there. Intersectoral also existing, and very helpful kind of body that this works. Now let me just talk about the more I would say let's move into the executives portion now. All that while I've been talking about how workers and workmen category are handled in terms of employee relations. So now when we move into employees, one option that which is new trending, which is like nowadays very appropriate, is the work from home. Now work from home option, when you are actually thinking of letting go of, like TCS has done, it is just retaining I think 25% of its employees in at office. The rest of them are all given work from home, and till 2025 they intend to continue the same. They have already released the orders, and it has been said as well as witnessed that the flexibility has actually improve the kind of extra work that people are doing. So it has been seen that in a month, almost, what if you say 24 days we work in a month, so now it is showcasing that you work 1.4 days extra per month because you are given work from home option or flexibility in workplace. And people are lot, and this is not just India's data that I'm talking. So it is across the world, it has been saying that because of this work from home option, 7% of the time to travel has actually reduced, so that way people are very happy. As well as all of us know, there have been jokes across on WhatsApp which says shirt is the only thing people are wearing, and नीचे तो कोई देखता नहीं है कि हाफ पैंट पहना है या क्या पहना है, तो it doesn't matter. So people are actually reducing on the cut of expenses across globally. And global workforce analytics says that in 1 year, as high as $11,000 have been decreased in terms of global expenditure on people. Because when you're going to office, of course you'll buy dress, you'll buy shoes, you'll buy so many other expenses, you'll buy a different bag. अब सोचो घर पे बैठ के काम कर रहे हो तो who bothers क्या पहने हो क्या नहीं पहने हो. So it automatically has decreased the expenses of people. That is again interesting, and people are finding it very useful. So Indian government ये 2021 Feb का data है, where they have also decided to go in for that you must have flexi work environment and work from home options for government. Because मैं इसलिए बात बोल रही हूँ कि private sectors के condition, immediately they would do it, but when it comes to government and PSUs, there is a very different scenario. So it's not that easy, क्योंकि अगला वाला क्वेश्चन करेगा कि why is it that you're doing this, इनके साथ ऐसा क्यों, you have to follow across one rule. And that is why even government nowadays have realized that they need to follow this practice for all its employees, right? So online learning is one thing where I think people have already realized the importance of it, and that is also one way you can encourage good development for people, and that way you are building in good relations among people, right? So I'll not move into this, I'll just shift a little different, where what are the current workplace challenges that you see. So if you see the workplace challenges nowadays is to align yourself to the sustainable development goals. So environmental challenges is high. You have to ensure that your workplace environment, the risk taking ability, that is again a very big challenge for companies. That is in context to as a environment, external environment, which is again aligning to the climate change SDGs, and internal environment, which is risk taking ability. Social, if you see diversity at workplace, abhi kya hai, the people are having different age group across in an organization. So when you have different generations working under one umbrella, there's lot of problems. You will have a boss who is 50-year-old and you will be just 25. So imagine it's like your father and you quarreling among what is to be the color of the house that you want to build. So it's the same thing that you can expect in a workplace also. When diversity is very essential, inclusion is essential, it also brings in lot of other challenges at workplace. Technology. So nowadays, I am sure you all guys might have taught your parents in terms of how to use technology, how they can benefit out of it, and how to use social media. So all these elements, uh, if you connect it in a workplace, earlier people were not so tech savvy. So if you're not changing the technology at workplace, not changing the technology adoption attitude of people in the workplace, again you perish. So change or perish in this fast paced environment. I'll tell you, my own organization can't even, people can't think of how to going for a digital learning. And I I remember a day where we were first running the webinars for them. I had to run from one place to another, keep shuffling between two places, because just to tell them that, see, this is how you must use the app that we have, and this is how you are supposed to, enroll yourself, enter your CPF number, and then you can view our webinar programs easily. So people were not used to operating their smartphones. They were having everything in their pocket, but the usability usage was not there. So these kind of changes that we have witnessed in environment, social, and technology has actually changed the HR priorities in 2021. And again, this is a Gartner's HR priorities survey that it has been showing. And before I move on to further tools of HR, employee relations, I would like you to focus on these aspects, because this is where the future lies, right? So HR priorities in 2021, if you say, they say that biggest challenge is building critical skills and competencies. So if you have people, if you are not able to build their competencies or critical skills essential for today and tomorrow, probably again you will be perishing. You will not be able to run the show. So organizational design and change management, current and future leadership bench. Again, interesting point here, the third point. It says benching is not just about people in the middle level or lower level, and put them, just because there is no opportunity you put them into bench, but it is about leadership bench also. Sometimes not all leaders are requested to be speaking or not required to be involved. So sometimes even leaders need to take a break, a kind of break, and that rejuvenates them to thinking. You must be seeing or witnessing a lot of leaders nowadays. They just take a break for a few days, few months, few years, and then they go on critical thinking about how the business has to run. So they will hand over the business to other key people and say, you run it. And that is again one of the biggest, you can say, HR priority area, where they would want such things to happen. Another interesting tool that is used to address this issue is that you all know board agendas, board meetings happens, and board agendas are there nowadays. Another mechanism that they are doing is that board meetings agenda is shared with mock boards. That means youngsters of the organization, some of the chosen youngsters, those who have the capabilities to be future board members. So those youngsters are given the same agenda of the leadership of the board members, and this agenda is one day prior discussed among the mock boards. Right now, this mock boards, what they do is they discuss, they put their same thoughts and ideas, and they come up with those agendas and what can be done. Their report is actually presented to the real-time board members, and the board discusses on what is the new perspective that these youngsters have brought into the whole concept. So I think many of you all must have watched Baywatch. Now this Raymond's as a company, they have a team called as Raymond's Baywatch company. Now team, sorry, Baywatch team. So what they do is this Baywatch team of Raymond's is formed by only youngsters and very senior executive, one senior executive, and they have the same 5 characters. So these people are the ones who look into this whole newer ways of doing things, and HR specifically addresses these newer teams to get involved to the older ideas and older agendas that the company has with a new perspective. It's just like changing your glasses. When you change your glasses, you see different or different color. And it's a very beautiful initiative of Raymond's, and they could do very, somebody was talking about business diversification. So most of the diversifications, newer ways of thinking, newer dimensions of doing business is brought up by such kind of HR initiatives of the organization. So one of the priorities, as I said, current and future leadership bench. Then you have future of work. What is it, the work that is going to be? So like in my organization we have minds, but then if we today don't start working on the AI aspects of mind, because minds is no more nowadays manual. Now everything you can sit from kilometers far and you can still control the mind. And because ours is a government operated mine, we have strict regression, we have strict norms in terms of operating drones also. So you just can't send a drone and take pictures, and you can't do that, right? So future of work, you have to think, and HR has to drive it in the business, and that's where again your relations with people does matter. Last not but the least, but employee experience. So what you create with your people, what kind of experience you're dealing with, will determine your future. Let's dwell further. So what's this experience? Because yeah, last class I remember somebody was telling me, ma'am, if you could share something on employee engagement. So engagement is, I would say, now outdated. The newer concept is more of the creating experience. So experience is what people encounter, observe over a period of time in their organization, and how or what do people feel about their journey of being into a workplace. So the perception about his or her journey, right? So it's about three things. What do people think, what do people feel, and what do people see in their workplace determines the success of their contribution to the workplace. So it is not just about the physical workplace or the culture or the technology, but it is a combined effort. You may have a beautiful, nice living room in your house, but the moment you start doing some work, it is not able to, it distracts you, you are not able to concentrate, and people say your sofa should be utterly clean, so you're not sitting on comfort. Will you be happy about it? Probably not. It's the same way that the culture of an organization is. If an employee works in an organization and he's supposed to do something very good, very nice, but then he's not comfortable, he is not able to sit in this couch and do his work properly, he's not able to focus, there are too many people around and too many disturbances, boss is not supportive, so it's just same way he's distracted and he's not been able to contribute to his workplace, and he's not going to give productivity. So HR's job is also to ensure how he thinks, feels, and then sees. Seeing is important. I mean, beautiful environment is important, but then that environment should not affect you in terms of output that you give. And that's where the concept of experience comes. So knowing your employees is the key. So how do you know? Ensure that you're fair, you use proper tools for the job, you have physical environment, your products and services should be aware, your people should be aware. Sometimes people at lower end, they don't know why they are working in a company. They are so involved in the screw driving that they do, that they lost the connect of being as a part of the larger picture. So as an HR, your job is to tell them, you have to connect them to the workplace that they are and to the brand they are working. Until and unless you take pride, you may be doing a very small, utter small job, but then you should be taking pride saying that my small job is what this bigger thing makes, and that's what the difference is all about, right? So involving to them, people to the products and services, listening, contributing, teams, relationship, well-being, uh, leadership, development, technology, that these are the words you should know. And one very, very interesting tool is what we call a skill inventory. So take an account of all your people in terms of what are they good at. So it is not about their qualifications, or it is not about the person's entity. It is about the skills that the person carry, which makes them different from others, and that inventory is very important. So taking an account of all the people, knowing all their interests and everything should really make a difference to HR in terms of managing best work for right people. I'll remember an incident we were doing a consulting work for Assam State Housing Corporation of India Limited. Sorry, Assam State, uh, Assam Police Housing State Corporation. So this organization is focused on doing police construction. That means जेल कंस्ट्रक्ट करेंगे, पुलिस जहाँ रहते हैं कंस्ट्रक्ट करेंगे, रिमोट लोकेशंस में अगर पुलिस का कोई इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाना है, they make this kind of infrastructure, and it's a state government organization. Now the organization has only 250 employees, but of course construction वाले जो workers होते हैं वो contractual होते हैं, but employees 250. उसमें से around I think this whole organization में एक भी architecture नहीं था, not a single architect in this organization. So when we were hired for doing training need assessment for them. So when we started asking them that you need an architecture, you don't have an architect at all, and you're doing construction, how do you go about it? They simply said that, see, we don't have a certified architect, but we have a person who has all these certifications, and he is just an upper division clerk, UDC, upper division clerk, and we support him a lot. That fellow is so good, one man, upper division clerk among 250 employees. He does all designing, he does everything. वो सिर्फ जाके किसी से certify करा के ले आता है, and the company is very happy, win-win. So company says that we don't need to hire because one man is doing all our job, and at the end of the day, he is our best employee. Uska designing, and that man is so proud of it. He's showing us, this arc that we developed in this jail is by me. This particular construction is by me. He's very proud. So why I'm sharing this is because if you know your people well, who is good in what, sometimes you don't need people to be hired. You can use your existing employees and you can do the wonders in your workplace. So knowing through an inventory is very essential. Then for creating experience, know what do they have in terms of pains and gains of an employee. So if you understand, if you think and you feel the pains of your people, you understand their fears, their anxiety, definitely you will be able to gauge and address them better. So what are the wants of the people? What are the dreams of the people? No. And of course, I'm sure your teacher might have already spoken about employee satisfaction survey, engagement survey. There are n number of surveys that you can run. But at the end of the day, if you're running a survey, your derivation of those surveys should be able to answer you with all this. The pains and the gains. What do people need to do? What do they see in terms of the marketplace, the environment? What are they saying? What are they doing? What are they reacting to? So if you are able to address these through all your surveys that you do, your company has to be in a win-win situation. So say, see, do, hear, and how they are associated. If you understand this, and I think this is visible, what are the various questions that has been asked here. If you address these questions in your workplace, I think your HR's job is done. So I am sure that you must have studied HR holistically. So role, relationships, working environment, and the overall organization. So role in context of people. So the job scope, competences for the role, personal motivation, autonomy, influence. Look holistically with context to the role. Relationships, again, create opportunities for informal communication. Create relationship supervisor. Again, one of my interesting experience I'll share. I started in industry, moved into academics, and when I moved into academics, I was working in a place called Manipal University. I don't know how many of you know it. It's a popular university located
Sikkim Manipal University.
नहीं, Sikkim Manipal नहीं, Manipal University. So Manipal University, Sikkim Manipal एक दूसरा branch है. So I was located in Manipal University. तो जब मैं मणिपाल यूनिवर्सिटी कर्नाटका पहुंची, the city of, I won't say a city, it's a town or a village. The moment you get down from the train, so you will start realizing where you have landed. So the place has got a small hut-like station, and once you move into that place, you will just cross village, and then finally when you move into the Manipal buildings, it's beautiful, it's just international standards. But to get into that building and the environment and everything, you have to, the in and around of Manipal is complete village. तो लोगों को बड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है जब people start working there. They have lot of issues there in terms की where do I party around, or where do I watch a movie, what do I eat. These are the simple problems that you face because you don't have much opportunities there. When I joined, I was pretty young and I was wondering the same. But there used to be a youngster, I still remember her name was Shilpi, and every month she would come down to our office and chit chat with us. और कैसा चल रहा है, how's your work going, did you find a house for yourself, did you go to this restaurant, did you visit this place, this food item is very good. And Manipal ka main operations are located in Bangalore, so she was located as an HR in Bangalore, but every month she would come and meet us in Manipal city where we were working. Now what would she do? She would just observe people. वो चिट चैट में भाप जाती थी कि कौन छोड़ के जाने वाला है. So she would actually do a counseling, help people, those who need. Say supposedly I need to buy something and I don't know where to buy from. It would be a kind of help desk. So she doesn't have a desk, but she would come and manage 3 days. She would come and manage with all of us and meet us and talk to us and understand who would continue in the organization, who would leave. Of course, I left in 8 months. That's another story. But I could understand the role of an HR in terms of understanding the relationship between people. And she used to do that so beautifully. बहुत ही प्यार से वो पूछती थी और कैसा चल रहा है, सब काम अच्छा चल रहा है, ये वो. उसी पूछने में she used to do all her job. Right? And that's essential. That's a real smart HR person should be like. The moment you talk to people, you should know what is reality of the place, right? And of course, work environment, you have a lot of, ensure you have a proper physical work environment, resources and tools. Then you have career advancements and opportunities. Your policy should be good. Your training and development opportunities should be right. And finally, you have the ethics, vision. Of course, those are the corporate HR elements that needs to be there, and your brand building. So your employer brand is very important. At the end of the day, how people look at you is all about, if I ask you all, where do you see yourself, you would always tell me, I want to work for Google or maybe Amazon, or you have so many big KPMG or some big brands that you would talk about. But have you ever thought why people say Google most of the time, or why people say KPMG most of the time? Because they have been able to establish that brand with the kind of practices that they have. So if you are able to establish that as an HR, I think automatically people are more into able to give their best to the workplace. So from role to organization level policies is what you need to work upon. So yes, many hats of a chief employee experience officers, and I will not go into this. And of course, there is a lot of shift of capabilities that are happening in 2025. You can expect from business acumen to moving shift to strategic business leadership. You should be able to, let me just highlight some of the HR points rather than taking you through everything. I think from employee branding to it's more an employee experience. You have to create a culture instead of just focusing on organizational development. Create a community engagement and not just employee engagement, because your responsibility as an organization, as an HR, is much more bigger, and it percolates down to the community, and you need to have a community collaboration. And at the end of the day, you must be able to move into not just having reward salary structure, but reward personalization. That means individuals should be recognized individually and not just in a group or in a department or in a sync. So recognize people, personalize the reward for every job that they do. Dialogue with regards to performance and how to align people to the performance, that kind of work in terms of conversation is very important. So relation, half the I think half the the job of a communication manager is very important. HRs have to communicate very very well, ensuring that they are able to establish that relation. Just like my Shilpi, I still remember her. So work driven network management, and it's not just about there is a hierarchy जो आप लोगों ने पढ़ा होगा. There is a triangle structure, and so you have long structure, narrow structure, broad structure, hybrid structure. ये सब theoretically बहुत अच्छा लगता है, but at the end of the day you need to have work driven networks. Nowadays there's lots of work that is happening in terms of organization network analysis. How do you build in right kind of network instead of just having a structure? So pyramid doesn't matter anymore, right? So that is where again we are heading towards. And of course you should have boundary-less careers. So if you think that there is a person who's ready to take the responsibility, he wants to create entrepreneurs, intrapreneurs. And that's where I think you must have heard about business partners roles. So the role of a business partner is nothing but just being an entrepreneur, where you take the roles and responsibilities of your own baby, and you nurture it, you gain out of it. So company also is in a win-win, and you are also in a win-win. So business partners roles are increasing nowadays, and that's where we are heading towards. I think that's again more building relations. So nowadays, just not being a part of just an organization, but being engaged completely holistically is what we're heading towards. I think I will stop here. I'm not going to get into trade unions. So yes, any questions that you have, I will be happy to answer. Any question?
No, ma'am.
No.
I think I think it's very clear. I mean, you explained very beautifully. Even I enjoyed the
Yes,
session.
ma'am.
Yeah, it was very clear. It was really helpful for those who are seeking HR as a specialization. I feel all the
Oh,
industry
we don't
insights you have
have.
given.
Are these not HR specialized students?
No, ma'am, these are semester two, so they'll be selecting now. They're in the process of selecting. So they have HRM as
So
a
I hope
subject.
I've done HR marketing.
Yes, yes. I too hope the same. Yeah. Students, so can we wind up if you don't have any questions? Because I think they have a German class now at 3:50 something. So is it okay, students? Anybody has any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. It's very
I
clear.
just had one quick question.
Yes, please, Anusha.
Thank you, ma'am. Very good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am, because you talked about the various aspects, like, one should have a HR team, which can especially, I was stuck with the point where you said cater to anxieties and issues. I just wanted a brief, response from you on what do you feel about this. Ma'am, LGBTQ communities' rights have now been at a rather much more social platform, and, countries are much more accepting of it. How do you think what's your take on the Indian companies, and how are they accepting it? Because we have people of all age groups, and if I may be so bold to add, so let's be honest, we have employees at higher age group who might not be so comfortable, might not accept their way of living. So how do you feel that such issues should also be catered to?
Absolutely. Thank you, Anusha. That's a good question. See, what is happening nowadays is there is a department they are setting up called as inclusion, diversity and inclusion. I picked up this point, diversity and inclusion, but I did not dwell deep now that you've asked me. So, what they are doing is they are hiring key people. So, specifically, who is there to manage diversity and inclusion of people. So the recruitment policies of certain companies nowadays is no more just having SC, ST or other caste, and they are trying to engage LGBT community also, and there is nothing wrong in it, right? Everybody has a right, and there is, internationally it has been accepted. Even in India, it has been accepted. Yet there are people's mindset which matters. So companies are open. Company as an entity will always have an open mindset, saying that we need to have inclusion, we need to have policies which are including everybody and bringing in diversity of people. But challenge lies in establishing attitude, right attitude and acceptance among people, and that can be only done through right amount of training to people, right amount of bringing in awareness. Now people, half of the community, let me talk my own organization, trust me, half of the people do not understand what is LGBT community, and they simply would raise what is it, like they'll be totally ignorant because they've not come out of the mindset of mines and thermals and power and everything. For them, the siren is more important to anything in the world, right? So the awareness is lacking. It's not that they will not, it's just that we have not, as an HR, we have not brought in right policies to the workplace. We have not created right awareness and acceptance. So if you have an issue, you bring that particular case, give right justice to the case, and things can be better. But what we do is we hide off, we shy off, and that creates the problem. So it's about right policies and creating right attitude and awareness. I hope I answered that, Anusha.
Yes, ma'am, that was pretty much it. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, students, so I think we can wind up now because their German faculty member is
Anusha,
waiting.
I would just tell you one thing. If you're more interested in this area, you can just go ahead and download some good policies which are available with a lot of private enterprises, and those policies are specifically on diversity and inclusion. In fact, they are hiring managers termed as diversity managers in organizations, or CEO diversity. They have that kind of opportunities nowadays. So if you're more interested, go and read some of the policies. It would bring in more better perspective to you.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on this note, I would like to propose a formal vote of thanks. Thank you, ma'am, for the wonderful sessions. They were very, very informative. And I'm sure that many of them, those who are in the dilemma as to what specialization they should take, they could be pretty much convinced about HR now, I feel. Thank you so much. The sessions were really very interesting. And again, thank you, students. You all have been a good audience, I would say. So over to all of you for the next lecture. Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Have a good day.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am.